Boy, I told you, you better get back to work. Don't make me tell you again. I smacked him. Oh, hi there. It's a beautiful day in my neighborhood. A beautiful day to be a neighbor. Won't you be mine? Sorry, boys and girls. Looks like Mr. Rogers had to drop a few pounds. Bear with me for a minute. Oh, yes. Isn't that relaxing? Whew, hot in here? It's just me. So, boys and girls, I'd like to welcome you to my humble abode, or should I say, my garage. Today, boys and girls, the word for the day is engine buildup. You know what that means, boys and girls? That's where we're going to take this LT2 small block Chevy, and we're going to do an engine buildup right here, boys and girls. So strap on, my little mother... hold on there, boys and girls, because that's all coming up here right next. Here on Mr. Rogers' Garage. Oh, shoot. Excuse me, boys and girls. I feel something coming on.
A few moments later.
Oh! Ah!
More moments later.
Oh, Lord. Boys and girls, you want me coming in here? Mr. Rogers had one too many burritos last night, if you know what I'm saying. Wish you didn't have to see that. That's my office. Okay, where were we, boys and girls? Yes. Silly me, I left my shoes over here. Boys and girls, I'd like to thank you for tuning in and being my neighbor. Like I said, today we're going to be doing this engine building on a small block Chevy. So, boys and girls, how many out there are familiar with small block Chevy? And that's all coming right up here next on Mr. Rogers' Garage. Oh, boys and girls, appears we have a neighbor. Let's go see who that is. Wait a minute. This is how we answer the door in our neighborhood, boys and girls. Who is it? Oh, look, it's Mr. Cameraman. Come on in, boys and girls. Mr. Cameraman. Now, how nice of you to join us.
What do you got on? Jim, quit screwing around, man. What is this?
It's my... This is a beautiful neighbor, isn't it?
What
He's
the
just... Mr. Cameraman.
Oh
been
my
stressed,
God. This is ridiculous.
Come on in and sit down.
Oh my. Get your shit. All right. Come on, cut it out.
Mr. Cameraman's a little stressed out.
I'm perfectly. Am I being recorded? I'm the camera. I'm the cameraman. Jim, get this. Take this mess off, man. Let's get to work.
Me?
Yes, you. Oh my God.
Cameraman's been
This is what happened when you leave you by yourself, man.
Mr. Cameraman's
What
a little
in
bit too
the
testy.
do you got on?
Oh, sorry about that, boys and girls. Mr. Cameraman's feeling just a bit testy today. I guess the wife hasn't been giving him sex and all.
Oh my God. And you gonna throw my personal business out there.
So, boys and girls, again, we'd like to thank you for tuning in. And be sure to like, comment, subscribe, share. Don't forget to hit that notification bell. And you're tuning in to American Garage TV.
That's what I'm talking about. Okay, let's get the show on the road here.
All right, boys and girls, now it's time to get serious and get down to business.
Yeah, it's about time you got serious, Mr. Rogers. Give me a damn break.
All right, stop busting my nutsack.
No
All right,
one's doing that.
Anyways, now we've got our one head on, and let me tell you a little bit something about the heads we're using here. These are by Edelbrock, and they're a direct replacement for this pretty much factory 93 Camaro LT2 small block Chevy block. And you'll notice, well, here's one right here. You'll notice that as far as the intake manifold, the AFI, or the tuned injection port, whatever they call that, we're going to reuse that. These are CNC machined. They're pretty much a stock replacement. It's not like they're going to have a lot of excess horsepower, but they are center bolt, and we wanted to keep that all stock. We do have an upgrade on the cam. We've done the bottom end. We have got 20 over pistons, brand new rings. We've literally freshened this whole thing up and checked the balance. We reused the front dampener, which is basically your bottom pulley. And then we've got the flex plate. And again, all that was balanced together. So we're good there. And we also got an upgraded, we'll show you later, an MSD distributor. This is that one where it sat right behind the water pump. So anyways, and just in case you're wondering, if you wanted to really go balls out and really beef up the horsepower, you're going to find that the other set of heads, your bolt displacement could be different, and your intake manifold, or that stock intake, which might not support enough fuel, is not going to work out. So you have to understand your application and be wise on your choices. As far as your runners and your ports, your valves, your lift, all that stuff, cam and heads. And again, this is pretty much for a bolt-on stock performance that'll bolt up with their factory intake. So that's why we chose these. Now we're going to go ahead and clean this down and bolt on this head and show you how to torque those down properly. And then we'll get into the push rods. Now actually, we were going to use the original heads, but we decided not to. It was a lot of work. And then internally on one of the runners in the port, we had found there was a crack that Mr. Machinist had missed. So we decided to get these, and they were on back order like everything else. So anyways, we got this all nice and clean here. And again, sprayed a little bit of WD-40 on the backside for that initial fire. We've got all our bolts ready to go. And what I'm doing is I am using this Permatex. Now you don't need them on all bolts. I just go ahead and do so because all your lower bolts, we'll show you right here, go into, get this out of here. We can unbag this now. It's going home right now. So, file that over there. All these bolts right here, they go in your water jacket, okay, into the block. They're going to need to be sealed. A couple of these will be the same way. We're going to go ahead. We've done them all that way, and that's fine. We're going to leave it that way. Now, underneath the head, the flange of the head of the bolt, and on top of the washer, against where it's going to seat against the head, used our ARP. You don't need to put a lot of that on there. So now we're going to grab our gasket. We're all cleaned up. We got our cylinder prime. And it's great if you had all these parts. Once this is all cleaned up, you put it together. You don't have to worry about cleaning or re-cleaning and having debris in there, or lint in this case. And just make sure everything is clear. Now I see one little tiny speck right there, and you got to go. We got it. Okay, now we're good. Now we're going to take the head, grab it here at the port, and we're going to do 1, 2, 3 sets. Line those up with the dowel pins. Boom! And of course there's a torque sequence. You can go online, but basically you're going to start in the center, adjacent, you're going to come down, you're going to come up, you're going to come over here, you're going to crisscross basically. And you're going to do this in 3 phases. Now with ARP, stock or 65, the ARP, that's slop from the manufacturer right there. ARP is 70. But you're not going to go crank them down to 70 foot-pounds. You're not going to start wherever you want. There is a torque sequence to this. So right now we're going to set all the bolts in place. Drop them in. Those of you who have a little impact or like a mini electric gun, that's fine. Just don't torque them down. Just to drive them home. We're going to use a speed wrench. And on the ends, these are the middle bolts. You only have 2 of them. They're a little shorter. Not as short as the external ones. Trying not to get your finger on this stuff. It's like air anti-seize. Gets all over the place. But these are perfect for the job. I mean, technically, if you had a high horsepower engine with a lot of compression, you're not going to want to use these bolts. Again, application. These are just going to look cool and they're not going to rust because they're stainless. But they're more than enough strength to do the job we're going to throw at this vehicle. Basically better and nicer looking than the manufacturer thought of. Alrighty. I think our last 2. Well, look at that. We're not missing any bolts. Imagine that. That's not supposed to happen, is it? Okay. Now, we are going to select... It is not. Is that you? I think somebody might have borrowed my... Yeah, they did. They did. I need the next size down. Tell me you're here. Yep, here you are. Cool. Okay. Get our speed wrench. Okay. You're not going to be able to spin that. Okay, and right there we got an extrusion. I think we encountered that on the other one, the other head, but we basically have to get past that. You see here on the bottom of the spring retainer, it's coming in contact. Now I'm just driving these down in place until they bottom out. Yeah, I'm trying to get that Ziz wheel around, but it ain't happening with all this sealant on it. Make an impact noise so it goes faster.
Man, it's smarter to do this by hand, right?
This you basically do by hand.
Okay.
Yes.
So it wouldn't be a good idea to use a impact or anything like that.
No.
So, bad idea.
It's important that I deal with this washer clearance issue
Mm-hmm.
before I go further. Okay. This is just known as a speed wrench, just to drive these things down.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got this one here. Okay, now take a look at this one here. Basically, once I get down in that pocket, it's just, it'll go. Just got to be gentle with it. And I made it. Make sure everything's clean, no debris. We're in there. And we're clear. Now, we'll start torquing. We'll start twerking.
Oh, no. Oh, my gosh. That's what
All
type
right.
of time you be on there.
All right, let's see. 250. No, that's a joke.
Yeah.
It's a bad joke. Okay, so we're going to start about, I want to say about 40 inch-pounds. Then we're going to jump to 55, and then we'll finish off at 70. So you can start in the middle. The reason for this is because, considering you have a torque sequence, you don't want to be tightening this whole thing down to your final torque spec and bowing the head. You need to bring it down gradually, and that's why there's a sequence, and you want to do this in about 3 steps. So about 35 to 40. There we go. Okay, and boom, that's it. Come next. Okay.
And it's once you hear the pop.
Yeah, and keep calibrating your tools and equipment every so often.
Now, I know this is a pattern that you're going in, kind of.
Yeah, it's a crisscross pattern.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll come down here to the next one, and then I'll jump over to here.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes people will put a marker on here so they don't forget. I just won't forget. Okay. And then we'll come here. Come down. Boom. Jump over here. Boom. 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 Oop. Missed it. It's actually here. We're only at 35 pounds. We'll come up here. Finish this front bolt. We'll come over here. And I like to go in the center. And then we'll come down here. Boom. And that's that. Any excess, go ahead and wipe that off. Watch your fingers so you don't cut yourself on any sharp edges. Just keep that out of the way. Alright, that is our first sequence. Now we're going to bump up to 55.
Okay. Before you go, can we spin it so I can get a good look? I want to show them this last sequence. Can we turn this sideways?
Which way do you want to go?
Just where it's sideways with the
yeah.
camera. Yeah.
Okay.
Then we can really see like the direction that you kind of going in.
Well, now that the head's on there, we can actually, okay, a little bit like that, and that way you can see.
And then turn it in the angle with the camera.
Okay, man.
Oh! Don't blow your ass out now.
Yeah. What? This is a family show. Don't say blow.
Oh wow.
Okay, so set that back.
Oh
there.
yeah.
Okay, you got me slammed up against the bench here.
Yeah. You've been.
Are we ready? Okay. All right. Boom.
Yeah.
55.
You can hear that pressure.
Oh, it broke.
Stop blowing. It'd be terrible. So what torque wrench did you decide to go with?
These are snap-ons. Rape-ons.
Oh my god, great. They be banning people channels for that damn word. Literally. YouTube is something serious.
I saw this one meme. It was funny. It says, it showed a van, by a school.
Oh
It said, this
my
is not
God.
a rape van. It says, this is a rape van. It showed a snap-on truck.
Oh my god.
Boy, they make good tools. They're just expensive. But then again, you get what you pay for. But then, they sell a lot of junk too, cheaper stuff. But this is high-end quality. And of course, they have them where they're digital, which is really nice.
Oh, yeah, that was really nice.
Oh, yeah. That one was already done. Boom. Boom.
So you gradually go up in pressure
Oh, this one.
when you adjusting them, I'm guessing, right?
Yes, I'm doing this in 3 phases because our final is 70 with exactly what I explained as far as our lubricants
Mm-hmm.
and our sealant. And this one's real close to the edge, so you don't want to damage
I'm
that.
guessing you do this just to make sure you keep an even seal, right?
Yeah, you're locking down this head under a load, and you want to make sure, and it's aluminum also, even steel heads, and you want to make sure this comes down gradually and straight. So now we're on our final. We're going to go... Oh, I forgot. We have to let this set where it's time to go to lunch, and then...
Oh, shit.
No, this is our final run, okay?
Okay.
So, get a foot placement here. Here, I like to... You don't want to overdo it.
A little more muscle.
Now, somebody that's building engines and not trying to explain anything, they just get right to business.
Mm-hmm.
I think we got that one already, right? Yep. Yeah, I already got that one.
Yeah, hear them pops.
Yeah, clicks.
Yeah.
No. Now theoretically, they'll have you, when you finish here, they'll have you jump to the other side, but we're so far out, this is not going to affect that other side.
Okay.
Okay, now, that's good. Come down here. Yeah, but it's real important to have these things calibrated. And your local Snap-on guy who comes to us, to the shop, he'll check this for free. So I'm done. Like I said, some people will mark them. I'm just going to go back and make sure, just not put too much pressure, just click. I haven't changed my setting. I'm still set at 70. Don't forget, this is also going to crush. And once we get heat in the motor and fire up, it's going to set. Looks like we missed one there a little.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I'm not going in sequence at the moment, but I'm just double checking because I've already set them. Yeah, I think I got it all. Mm-hmm. See, it's not even, and I can feel it's not even turning. It's just
letting you know where the pressure
just clicking where I left off.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, where I've got it set. Look.
Oh.
Don't forget, the gasket is crushing. But again, once we have heat in the motor, they're going to crush even more. So once about, say, 500 miles or so, not only going to change your oil, your filter, because this is an all-new motor. Mm-hmm. And you're not breaking in a cam, but you're still going to have a fresh motor. The rings, as they're seating, you're going to have, hopefully you end up with a very micro amount of debris in your oil, and it's non-detergent for the first 500 to 1,000 miles. So we're also going to go ahead and re-torque and check all our bolts, because again, gaskets will shrink. Okay, now we have our heads on. We're going to get into the push rods. So we have the original one here, and if you notice, there's no guide plates on here, because again, this was manufactured or repopped for an original application.
Let's get closer.
So, what I have here, you can use poly-locks, but we're not. Got a fresh bag of basically C-nuts. These are our rocker stud nuts. They're crimped in 3 locations, hence like a C-nut. And these are our new rocker arm balls, they call it. Let me open this up. Now let me explain. Hang on. Open up. There we go. Let me explain what's going on here. So here's our stock one. Okay? You can see here, no guide plates, but it's got these 2 ears here. Okay? And what that's going to do is that's going to help to guide that on there. Right? And being that we don't have a performance engine, we don't have guide plates, we've got stock push rods. And we're going to make sure after all this machining, those are going to still, we can still use those. So we've got our stocker. Here's the new one. These are by Comp. And you see, there's your ears, but it's a roller tip. And yes, that's just enough to ride without hitting your retainer clips. So basically, we're going to put this in place. Start over here. We've already pre-lubricated and soaked our lifters. And you're going to put a little dab of the same ARP lube. Actually, you know what? Skip that. Go ahead and use this right here. This is our Comp engine assembly lube. Just put a little dab around there. Drop that down. Okay? Make sure everything's lubricated. Then what we're going to do is we're going to check for proper valve train geometry. And let me get my marker over here, my blue marker, or bluing. Here we go. All right. And you can see bluing is just going to get all over the place. So you're going to make sure this is clean. And again, make sure that you've soaked your lifters. You don't want your lifter to collapse. They do have a valve train spring. It's basically a tool. It's a light duty spring. so it doesn't put the pressure that this one's going to inflict, and that way you can open and close. Now here's the deal. This is how you look for proper valve train geometry. And by the looks of this, but the proof's in the pudding, it looks like we're going to be able to use these. So we're going to have to put this on. Where's that bag of nuts? Oh, I left it up here. Got the 3/8. Yeah, this will work for right now. Okay. I don't want to sit here dealing with the cramp nut. So we're going to pop this on till it touches. Let me get my 9/16. Where are you? Is that it? There we go. Alright, we're touching. We're touching, and then I'll turn that just a bit as if you're going to set it. About 1/4. That's good enough. Now we're going to rotate this whole assembly. Alrighty. So rotate this thing all around. Here we go. See, she opens, she closes. Let's do that again. She opens and she closes. Okay. Now right about here, she just opened up fully. Right about there is going to be base circle. That's the back of the cam lobe. Now we're going to take this off. And we're going to see how she's writing. There we go. I want you to come in here and see this. This is perfect. We can reuse these. Okay. See what's going on here? This is how you check proper valve train geometry. Your push rod length. There is a push rod checker tool, which is this guy here. Okay? And basically it's got a mark on here. And then you're going to line that up, mark here, maybe take a piece of tape. And right here, you're always going to want to be on these marks. And then you'll take your caliper gauge and you'll measure that. And that'll be your push rod length. Now, if you get something like 792, but they only make 7.9s, then that's fine. That 2 isn't going to make a difference. You need to look and search for a 7.9. Okay? And that's how that's going to work. Now, in this case, see how dead center that is? Now, I can illustrate that with that push rod checker tool, but I can easily just tell you this. Let me get this out of the way. Let's say this push rod tool, and granted I remachined, we made sure the block was true to the center line of the crank, and that was considered blueprinting. That's what the name meant. And we want to make sure that every piston comes up equally, the quench, the distance from the top of the deck to the top of the piston, everything is perfectly equalized. So if this push rod, when we start fly cutting heads and rebuilding what we've got, all the original used parts, that starts to come down. When this comes down, this push rod actually comes up. So if you were to take, say, 40, 50 thousandths off of here, this guy's going to write about 50,000, that much greater. Now, if this is too tall, what happens is you're going to elevate your rocker. And when you elevate that, you can see right here, you're going to start pushing and writing toward the top side of the valve. And if that happens under extreme conditions and revolutions, you have to understand if you were the valve, you're going up and down rapidly. You're going to force this entire valve stem toward the top. That means you're going to have premature on the top side of your guide. The opposite is true in a sense. If that was too short, you're going to ride on the bottom. Thus, you're going to be pushing down the bottom. This is referred to as proper valve train geometry. Now that we got that all the way, we got all our push rods measured. I mean, not measured, I mean cleaned and prepped, ready to go. We also blew out the center to make sure we didn't have any debris. So you're going to pop in all your push rods like that. Actually, let's just do the bottoms here. Is that a little dust bunny? Sure is. Get out of my motor. Get out of my motor. Alright. I think we're about there. Yes, we've hit every one. Okay. Let's pop this up. Alright.
What's that you're using?
This is assembly lube. And then I got a spray I'm going to show them when I get to that point. So we're going to take all our rockers for this side. Plus we're going to show them how you assemble a side. And boom. And boom. Ooh, 2 more. All right. Now, for the rest of this and your springs, where did you go? You are right here. Comp cams, valve train assembly.
Let's see.
And it's easy as doing this. All you're going to do is get your rockers inside and out. Or you could use that bottle lube. That's it.
Let me see.
Make sure everything is oiled.
Okay.
Don't worry about being a little sloppy. We'll get that cleaned up. Yeah. There we go. So now, still going to use a little dab of this. So we're going to wet ones in. 1, 2, 3. What comes after 3?
8.
Whatever you want it to be these days, right?
Boy.
Oh, geez. Yeah, you better know your math these days. Because if not, it's going to cost you. Alright, so we got that. And then, a little dab right on the top where the the seat of the bolt, or the nut. And don't overdo it. Just a little dab. Don't worry, it's going to spread around. Just putting a drop in there. That's it. Now, this is where I wish I had an impact right now. Got to be careful with these. Again, you could use Polylocks, but we're just going to use these. They were supplied in the kit. They're fresh. They're brand new. They're going to crimp up nicely. When they start to get old and aged, they start to lose their crimp. And under the load, like I said, if you were these lifters, or excuse me, well, the lifters too, but these rockers, you're going to be going up and down at under a lot of pressure and load at an accelerated rate. And you need to understand that when they start softening up and they're not holding vibration, they'll start loosening, and one day you're going to hear a chatter. And those are your valves talking, or your whole valve train assembly talking to you. Saying, change me. Give me some fresh new parts. Stop being a cheapskate. That's another thing. Look at it this way. This is cheap insurance to keep up the longevity of your build. You're right here, right now, and if you're going to skimp on something like this, and people do, as a shop owner, I see it all the time. Just think about the expense when you come back to me and I hear your pain and suffering because the other shop neglected and didn't do this or that, and then we got to tear it all apart and open it up just to replace a new piece like such as this simple. So let's see, we need to jump up to the next size, which I do not have here, do I? Oh, I guess that's for another show. Huh? I'm going to have to run and get another socket here. These are 5/8 because I want to drop them in, and then we're going to show you how to set them. All right. Always nice to have the right tool. So now we're going to bring these down. Actually, you know what? These are good. Oh, I should have grabbed a shorter ratchet, but you can use this guy. These are gripping. That's good. You're gonna have to watch it out. Now, what you're gonna do, because you're not turning the cam at the moment, you're gonna bring them all down as far as possible till they barely touch. And then we're going to show you again where to get to the back of the base circle of the cam. And that's 180 degrees opposite from the peak of the lobe. It's called base circle. Okay. So you drive these all in. I need to back this up a bit. Yeah. Back up there for a little bit. There we go. And you'll find you'll get them tightened down, or, you know, snug. But then as you turn this around, so right before they touch. Right now we're just driving these in. Now there's a sequence, I don't have it memorized, where let's say you're at base circle on your number 2 cylinder, which is your exhaust, right up here in front. Well then, 4 and 6 intake and maybe 8 exhaust, they'll all equally be on the base circle. So unless you have a cam in front of you, an old cam, you know, or have that memorized, you're not going to know that. But just a thought so you know. So now we're going to switch over. Okay. It's starting to get heavier now. Okay, is that? No, that is on. That's because that is so loose. Okay, so we need to snug this up a bit more. Okay, yeah. Oh, I can feel it. Yeah, there's a lot there. Okay, tool abuse. That should be good. And then I want to see that thing open and close. There she is. There she closes. Okay, right about. Should be our base circle. See how loose that is? That's because it's not riding on the lobe. So again, till we touch, and about a quarter turn. That's all I'm going to give it. Actually, that's still loose. Just so it's snug. Because we're going to readjust these once the motor gets fired up. We want to make sure that we're not so loose they're just going to be chattering and banging away. Wow, that is still...
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah. That must have not been seated in there. Okay. There, we just did it. Bam. That's... shit. Generally it's a half turn, but that one went a whole turn. I wish I had that thing memorized. That closed? Okay.
And you feeling for when it...
When it touches, when you get rid of your slop, and then I go a quarter more, and that's it.
Okay.
Don't want to overdo it, otherwise they'll be too tight and they'll never close. This one is just all over the place. Okay, we are opening. On the last one, close. All right.
And that's all of them now. All of them been adjusted for the most part.
This is a pre-latch.
Okay.
Okay, once the car's running, we'll check them again. And you can even hear it in the engine, because if you over-tighten it, the motor will die down from idle. And then as you open it, it'll pick back up. But if you open it excessively, it'll start to chatter. So you close them down until it stops chattering, and then you just crank them down generally about a quarter turn. And that's nice because in running, we've got a cutaway valve cover, so that way we can do that without worrying about oil shooting up all over the place.
Okay.
Well, that's it for this side. Now we get to do the other side, but I think you get our point. And that is how you set your valves and your rocker arms. And after we get done with adjusting our valves, I'm going to dress it off with this.
Sheesh.
Blows away that old school or the originality, doesn't it?
It shines so hard I can't even pick it up.
These are actually a pot metal aluminum. They're not billet. They don't need to be, but they are chrome plated. It's got the Chevy emblem. They are center bolt. We've got all our provisions for our breathers, our PCV valve, and they'll work in junction with the original motor application. So they're going to be nice. We've got a nice quality gasket. It's black. It's ribbed. If you're into the details, I mean, Fel-Pro makes the black or the blue. We didn't want to show the blue, so we got black, and it's got a steel core. So it really helps with a center bolt application, because at least your bolts around the perimeter on the earlier generation help to hold that in place. And there was another one, I won't mention any names, it was just plain floppy rubber. And unfortunately, you come up short, if you know what I'm saying. So we went with Fel-Pro. In fact, they're hanging right there on the wall. Well, no, that's the perimeter bolt. They are, they're back here. And they're by All-Star Performance. And they do have that inner core. They're ribbed for your pleasure. And they're going to seal up nicely. And again, they're going to hold in place. There's no need to RTV these or any type of sealing.
Okay.
Set it, bolt it down, forget it. It's a done deal. So, again, I'm Jim. Thanks for tuning in. American Garage TV. We're here at Jim's Speed Shop, and we so hope you appreciate these videos. And be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe. Don't forget to hit that bell. We truly appreciate that. It's really going to help us to launch and get into those YouTube algorithms. Until next time, again, I'm your host, Jim. Catch you on the next video. Thanks for tuning in and watching.